Okay, people. So, checked out a film called Monolith. Right? This is directed by Matt Vesely. It was written by Lucy Campbell. We have Bettina Hamilton producing. Benjamin Speed took care of the music. Michael Tarazzi was on cinematography. Tania Neum edits the piece. Right, production design is Jonah Booth Reamers. Costume design is Renata Henschel. Hair and makeup, we have Karen Gower. Um, our cast. Well, um, on screen, we have Lucy Sullivan, right? She is, I mean, she's the only person that we see. You know, everyone else is voices. Um, she's the interviewer, right? Then we've got Flora May, who's voiced by Ling Cooper Tang. I think her daughter's Paula, who is voiced by Ansua Nathan. There's the caller's dad, who's voiced by Eric Thompson. We have Klaus, voiced by Terence Crawford. There is the caller's friend Scott, voiced by Matt Crook. There's Laura, voiced by Kate Box. John, voiced by Rashidi Edward. Shiloh, voiced by Bridget Zhengengi. We also have got a young version of our interviewer, right, who's played by Belle Kalendra-Harding. There's Tyler, Chase Coleman, Caller's mum, played by Rebecca Summerton. A younger Flora May, played by Janet Tan, and Jarad, played by Damon Herriman. Yeah, that's about it, right? So yeah, the gist of the story is ooh, what have I done to my screen? Okay. Oh, we've got a slight problem. Okay, right. Got that sorted. Okay, so we are following a disgraced journalist as she turns to podcasting to salvage her career before uncovering a strange artifact that she believes is evidence of an alien conspiracy. The teasing mystery is a product of the groundbreaking Film Lab New Voices initiative and uses its creative restraint to compelling advantage. Supposedly. Yes. Now, this one, I checked it out mainly because, like, a friend of mine hit me up about this film a few months back and was just like, yo, I've just seen this trailer for this thing, the Monolith, and it looks incredible. And I was like, I mean, yeah, maybe it could be. Seems kind of compelling. So, you know, it appeared, and I thought, all right, I will check it out. It's a film kind of basically shot in one location, essentially. Right? We got the woman at a computer, you know, in the living room, in the kitchen, you know, and then there's a few bits where she's either maybe watching a video, um, talking to someone via video, that kind of thing. Which is always you just think the challenge of doing that, filming something with just one person, right? And you're trying to flesh this story out using these different visual cues. We've seen it done very well, right? There was that Jake Gyllenhaal film on Netflix a couple of years ago where he's in a call center. I forget what it was called. I think it was probably called The Call or something like that. There was Buried with Ryan Reynolds. You know what I mean? Both very good. And earlier in the year, we looked at a film, First Time Caller, right, in January, which was interesting. That was pretty decent, right? And I feel that probably is the most similar thing to Monolith, right? Because it was a guy doing a radio show. A radio show is very similar to a podcast, essentially. So, yeah, I think there's parallels with those two. With this one, though, I think there's a lot of things that are kind of interesting, but there are so many questions. There are so many questions, people, right? Because, she's this disgraced journalist, right? She broke a story supposedly, but didn't fact check. So, she got into trouble. Now, with something like that, there's that ambiguity, right? Was she right? Was she wrong? Who knows? You know? And sometimes that kind of thing gets, bled out through the proceedings that you actually then see the character of the person. You'll be like, oh, right. Right. And it has that ripple effect on the current story that you're watching. This one, we don't really know, but from the way she acts, you kind of think that, yeah, she's full of shit, right? That's the thing. But it's like this whole story. Well, there's couple of things, right? It's an odd story. But she just gets sent an email and from an anonymous source, right? She messages back and go, "Who is this?" It's just like, if they wanted you to know who they were, they'd say, right? No one's just gonna say their fucking name because you said, "What's your name?" Right? If she's this she would know that. She would know that, right? There's a lot of mistakes that she makes that you'd feel a top journalist isn't gonna be making. It's very, very odd. She also this she gets sent a photo and then something about like I forget what it says, but it's very ambiguous, like just something like, oh, there's a mystery. That's it. It's nothing to kind of grab you. It wasn't intriguing, but then she's just like, oh, I've got to look into all of this, and so she's digging into this story. But she is terrible, like terrible at trying to, bond with people to get information. Like she's just rude, just off key, just bad, just real bad, right? But the story itself isn't that gripping. Like, I don't know, as a viewer, I just didn't really care. I didn't really care, you know? It it gets a bit more intriguing as it goes on, but initially, I just kind of scratching my head, just like, well, what are we doing here? What is this? I don't even know. All right, so we have this thing now. It goes on, like more layers are peeled off, but it's just this thing about Brick. weeks, you know? We like when we meet her, it's like the podcast hasn't even started yet, right? She's planning the first episode and she's being badgered by her producer. Well, I mean, it's not really badgered. Like you promised to deliver something and you haven't. So he's in his full right to be like, yo, what the fuck? But there's nothing, but it's a bit weird in the way it's done because it's just like, oh, viewers, give me information so we can do this thing. But the episode's not out, but she's still getting information, which is like, huh? Then supposedly the episode in one night is like gone gangbusters. Like, how? Where was it put out? Right? But we have all these things. Suddenly this podcast is blowing up, supposedly, right? And more stuff is unfolding. But again, it's still you still don't really feel convinced about it all, right? Look, we've seen like these, sci-fi films where you have this mystery, right? Think of something like Arrival, right? You don't know what's going on, right? Just these monolith, again, it was on Monolith, right? It appears there's this weird language. Like, are they trying to attack? What's happening? But you are intrigued. You're gripped. You want to know, where is this story going? What is happening? Right? You feel for the people involved. This one, you just don't. You really don't. And like a lot of the other stories of people, it's just like, how this thing ruined my life. But it's just like, but how did it ruin your life? Like it's still not really that well explained. Then we have this other kind of thing that happens, and you're just like, wait, how did you not know? Right? There's this big thing because it's just like, wait, I don't understand how you don't know this. Now, if there was a thing that was just like, oh, this happened, which then made all of these things get blocked out, you'd be like, okay, but we don't know that. So you're just scratching your head like, how would anyone not know? It doesn't really correlate. It's an odd one. It's an odd one. It's like the acting is fine and everything is fine. It's not really setting the world alight. I think just the script in places is a bit odd. And some of the scenes, right? Some of the stuff we're watching, like there's a bit where she's in the shower. Like she's in the shower. And it's just like, wait, why do we need to see her in the shower? I don't understand how this is helping the story. Right? It's not even really seeing her breaking down or anything like that. Now, we're not seeing anything. It's a head up shot. But why? Why is that shot needed? What is that shot bringing to this story? Or even the emotional state of our character? It's doing nothing. It's doing nothing. So there's some weird things like that going on, and even at the end, right, we have this very odd sequence where you're just like, why would anyone stop, firstly? And then there's something, there's this ambiguity, but I just found myself not really caring, you know not really caring. Like, obviously, right, to be able to create a film using one location, that's impressive. You did a good job, right? It was one of these initiatives. where they a load of scripts came in, and then it got whittled down to the three, and then this one won. Right, 15 days to shoot. It's a small budget essentially. So it's impressive what they were able to do in the time, with the money, all of those things. I don't think it was for me though. I don't think you know, it's not even a film that you think about afterwards, right? There's these films that just grab you, and you're just like, oh fuck, what did I see there? What was that? That was crazy. And it's just it's not one of those, right? It's unfortunately not one of those films. Look, I think of frack, what's his name? It's Riz Ahmed, right? Riz Ahmed, he made this film. Oh God, what was it called? Encounter, right? Oh, that was this lo-fi sci-fi film. I think it was the 2021 London Film Festival, which I covered that, and it's there's not a lot of definitive things in it, right? There's stuff that gets alluded to, but you're just like, yo, but that film has you thinking a long time after you walk out of that screen, because there's all this stuff around mental health and just all of these other things. So you're just like, yo, was that true? Was that in that guy's head? Like, what was going on? And you think of all these different theories and things like that. That's what you want from something like Monolith, where you're thinking, be like, yo, huh, interesting. Yo, so how does this play into that original thing, right? And then with that other stuff, but you're just not. You're just not. There's kind of like a hollowness to it, right? It just seemed devoid of emotion, that emotional impact that draws you in and has you gripped to find out what the fuck is gonna happen, right? That was the thing with this one, unfortunately. Now, I'm sure there's plenty, who will be down with it. And they said, look, if you enjoyed First Time Caller, if you like that kind of film, then Monolith could be intriguing to you. I just didn't think it was up to the same quality. But it's out. It's on VOD. You can go check it. Right? I checked it out on Now TV. But it's around on all your favorite VODs. So yeah, if it sounds like it's for you, people, Monolith.